Hey, it's Direct Response Playbook. We're here to talk about another email marketing and digital marketing goodies. Today, we're talking about social media marketing, specifically in the context of email marketing. How can those two things be related, David?
They can be related because people use social media and people use email. And really, at the end of the day, if people aren't on social media, they might be on email. And if people don't have email, they might have social media, right? So it's important. It's an and question, not an or question. And with generative AI and things like that, this stuff can be systemized very, very quickly. But you're here because you want to learn how to get leads from your social media account where you're at the mercy of an algorithm into your email list where you still have an algorithm to deal with, but it is way easier
Well,
to control.
and you're going from rented land to owned property, right? Because
Hmm.
social media is valuable, but you're renting that land because it can change, it can disappear. Whereas your email list you actually own, right?
Exactly. Exactly. One of the things that I know that I've done to build newsletters using social media, first thing, and I know this sounds so simple, but it works. Post about your news. Say, hey, I have a newsletter, and it helps you blank without blank. Comment me if you're interested. That works. That actually does. And you might say, well, David, I only got 11 subscribers. Yeah, well, that's 11 subscribers you didn't have. If you have a large social media following, you might be able to get hundreds, if not thousands, of people through that. And it's very simple, very fast. Another thing that I've used before to help to help grow an email newsletter is Facebook ads. Facebook ads, lead form ads. Very simple because their information's already populated, right? So that has worked and gotten me leads for $1 or less. Pretty darn good considering current conversion rates and current CPMs are just out of this world. So that's something that's worked for me. Contests and surveys are pretty great. And Travis, didn't you have a contest software before Campaign Refinery?
Yeah, so actually, before Campaign Refinery, I ran a tool that was called Contest Domination, and it actually had over 20,000 customers and generated over 30 million opt-ins, believe it or not. That got acquired a few years ago. Unfortunately, that tool has been folded up into some other things and doesn't exist anymore, but it really gave me some interesting insight. And what was cool about that is that was actually the first way I grew my own list in a meaningful way was through contests, because I had been doing the blogging thing and did it for years, right? And got a couple hundred subscribers over a few years. And I ran a contest and got 2,000 subscribers in a weekend. And I was like, whoa, okay, got my attention. Like these things work, right? Yeah, the key though that I will say about contests, which have a lot of promotion on social media, not only the initial promotion, but people sharing the contest on social media feeds back. And so the idea is you're sort of building this like lead generating machine, working off referral and working off social media. But the number one thing I want people to think about when they think about contests, because I've seen a lot of these campaigns, is making sure that your prize is irrelevant to what you actually talk about and do and sell. And not just it is applicable, but that it actively disqualifies people in interest that aren't interested in what you're doing. So, for example, if you are a tractor supply company, giving away a package for a Super Bowl is probably a terrible prize. Ask me how I know that because I've seen someone do it. Whereas conversely, if you're giving away a riding lawnmower, someone in an apartment's like, what am I going to do with a riding lawnmower, right? And you may get way fewer leads, but the quality goes way up because you want it to actually move the business needle for you down the road. And I loved your point about promoting your newsletter on social media. Have you found that it's actually really helpful to talk about specific issues coming out each week? Because then you can have like, hey, this week my newsletter is going to cover X, Y, and Z. And you give them like a specific value point to talk about that they'll learn if they actually subscribe this week. It kind of has like a built-in marketing event every week, right?
Yeah. So for me, split test everything to your heart's content. And if you're not getting leads from social media, when it comes to posting about your newsletter, you might be talking to the wrong people about the wrong thing at the wrong time. But it doesn't take, for myself and the local newsletter that I have, it doesn't take much to take the newsletter content and create almost like a movie preview and then say, comment below and we'll sign you up or go to the link in the bio. Right. So it can be a way of systemizing content. I know for the local newsletter, right now it's a branding play, so I'm not getting like any engagement, but people are seeing it. And for me, I care about that more than I do the likes and the comments and things like that. Now, if I were to do that for another newsletter, I might and be targeting a different audience, I might be getting likes and comments out the wazoo, right? But I think it's important to definitely have both, and it doesn't take too much to do both. It really doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, my point about promoting what you're going to be talking about on the weekly newsletter is just that it gives you, hey, this is the thing that's going to happen, and if you aren't signed up before this date, you miss it, because that's one of the biggest value drivers of why a contest works so well, is it has built-in scarcity. And anyone who's been following me for a while knows that I am like in love with scarcity when it's authentic, because we use different strategies for like dramatically improving our lead magnet engagement, dramatically improving engagement in a whole bunch of different sort of steps in our funnel. But on that very first opt-in step, your weekly newsletter, what you're going to be talking about is a great scarcity metric to get them onto the newsletter. And contests have a natural start and end date. So it's like, if you don't opt in before this date, you can't be considered to win. And both of those are a really powerful way to take eyeballs you might have on social media and convert them to be email newsletter subscribers.
Yeah. And I think people get very tight when they are posting and they're like, well, I only have this many views. I only have one like, I only have this. There are business owners out there that are making multiple 6, 7, multiple 7 figures with very small social media followings, right? Because you never know who's going to see what you're doing. So just keep showing up. And if you can get them on an email list, even better, because now you have data to work with. And now you can possibly upload, if you have enough people, you can upload that list into Facebook or Google or whatever and create a custom audience based on that data, right? So it's a feedback loop.
Yeah, I mean, if you sell a thing that's 10 grand a year and you only get 10 people to buy, that's 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
10 people.
Yep.
Power.
Most people get upset by the numbers, you know?
Large amounts of revenue per user. So.
Right.
Cool. Well, yeah, that's about all I've got for this. If you want to learn more, you can always check out campaignrefinery.com. We have a blog post for you in the description below. And if you want to check out what David's up to with his newsletter and how he's using social media to drive it to become leads, you can check out wealthyinbox.news. Until next time, like, subscribe, and I'll talk to you then.